Welcome to episode 5 of Ready Steady Build. If for some reason you decided to start watching this series here, first of all, I suggest you question your life choices. But just to humour you, I've invited 6 Twitch streamers to see if they can create a building or centrepiece in 1 hour using 100 vanilla items of my choosing. I know, quite the challenge. This week's guest is none other than Cockwaddle.
Cockwaddle!
Yes, that's right, small child. Cockwaddle.
Cockwaddle, hello.
Hello, Moomin Little Socks, hello.
How are you?
I am doing absolutely superb, how are you?
I'm always good, famously. Always good, always happy. As we all know.
Of course.
I'm never in any other state.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, stress just doesn't exist in the slightest. No. I've asked a few people this already, and yours is probably the person I've wanted to ask the most. And I don't know how well you can do this in a family-friendly way, but how did you get your name?
Oh, that is a horrible question. Oh my goodness. How did I think I made it up as a teenager as what I thought would be a funny insult, and I think for a while I used it as like a backup gamer tag when I didn't want to use my other one. But I've started to prefer it over time, and I'm glad to say a lot of people actually quite like it. Yeah. It's not even meant to be all that rude, but some people take it as such.
No, because you can.
I suppose I can't blame them.
You can interpret it how you like, really, can't you? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
I know that Poet has made it very vocal that she's got a very good idea of what she envisages when she thinks of your name, but we won't repeat that.
She'll tell you.
Yes. But no, I think it's a very good name. As I said to Spag as well, it's another memorable name that you're not likely to forget anytime soon.
Yes, that's why I'd like to think it works in my budget. And a lot of people find it kind of cute, which actually I kind of prefer. You know, yes. I kind of want it to be a bit more like sort of Cock Fosters or something like that, rather than anything particularly nasty.
Yeah, well, because unfortunately you have to use you have a second username, don't you? Because some platforms won't let you use Cockwaddle.
Yeah, Rocket League won't let me have it.
Yeah, that's
evil.
Disappointing, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah.
How do you cope? So how did you get into streaming?
Well, I got into streaming years ago, but like I wasn't properly into it. I used to just stream it entirely as a social thing with sort of 2 or 3 people that I already knew. You know, if I wanted to sort of hang out with them online, I would just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna stream this, that, or the other on Twitch, and you can come join the chat." And I guess it's kind of like how we use Discord streaming now. You know, it's like a little hangout session. But and I thought I'd try that again last January when I was getting back into Planet Coaster again. I thought, you know, this could be quite a nice little chill environment. A lot of people working from home. Yeah. They just sort of want something kind of like Slack or Discord, you know, to hang out in. So I started doing that, and it just sort of picked up speed. And like the more and more people who started ending up in my chat, like people I hadn't already known, I got to thinking like maybe I should just take this a bit more seriously. So I started like making actual go of the channel, and it's just sort of gone from there. I've just sort of followed other streamers' leads on like what a channel should look and act like, and here we are.
I mean, that's all we're doing in life, isn't it? Just kind of fluking it, copying others, just see what happens.
Just absolutely wing it, yeah.
I'm very glad that you did, because you've got a lovely little Twitch channel going now.
Oh, I'd like to think so.
Can you tell us about so you've just finished a project in Planet Coaster, is that right?
That's right, yeah, about 3 weeks ago, yeah, we finished one. We finished a huge Soviet Union park that we'd been doing for about 3 and a bit months. And actually this challenge came at a really good time with that, because I think I was just reaching the end. I was really wanting something fresh, you know, like something completely different.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had quite I don't know, I guess I felt quite creative at the time. It felt quite nice, because you know what it's like at the back end of a project. You're a bit sort of burnt out, and you're just desperate to jump into something else, yeah.
And now you've just started a new park.
Indeed, yeah. So we've got an ancient world park going now. I think it's going to take even longer, to be honest. It's got a roadmap of about 6 months. So, yeah.
Well, it's looking great so far. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it is in terms of location and aesthetic?
Sure. So it's going to be based in modern day Jordan. My idea for it is that it's like this sort of big new tourist attraction that the government has subsidized. Jordan was huge in the ancient world, that sort of Syria and Levant area. So I figured I'd make a tourist destination that's based on all the civilizations that pass through there, like Rome and Greece and Mesopotamia and so on. So it's going to be based in the middle of the desert and that sort of thing. one of the big angles, you're going to hate me for saying this, Moomin, one of the big angles I wanted to go with was, you're going to be embarrassed, but I was really following your lead on a lot of stuff. I really wanted to really expand on backstaging and realism and stuff, so I was churning through a lot of your older YouTube videos to get ideas for that, and I'm really hoping that comes through well.
Stop it. I don't own the rights to backstage, but I'm very grateful that you use my content as inspiration. That's very nice, but I'm going to very swiftly move on from that.
I thought you might.
I'm just seeing there in the top right, I think this is the point that during your stream I flagged that the build had already reached almost 3k.
Yes.
Because of your, and it's a shame because it's wonderful, your log cabin style facade, but obviously use a horrendous amount of the log pieces. So you had to do a bit of redesigning.
I did. Mathematics never been my strong point, so I didn't think it would be a problem to cover the whole thing in individual logs. I didn't think that would get anywhere near 4,000, but it got near 4,000 almost instantly.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of glad this happened though, because what it meant was that I had to completely rethink how I was going to do quite a lot of the walls, and I got a really good idea, and this is how it always happens with me. I don't come up with a lot of my own ideas. I'm very much a community channel, and I get a lot of outsourcing of ideas. And this kind of happened again, where I think it was Undead who said, why don't you make the top half, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now, look like a sort of a more modern extension, so with flat panel walls, so to still have like the logs on the bottom half. So I kept those there, but then we just had panels on the top, and I think that kept it to I think it was only just over 3k or something in the end. So it's completely saved my life as well.
Yeah, well, that Undead, such a smart chappy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, doing what he always does.
So your inspiration for this build, am I right in saying, came from DayZ?
That's right, yeah, Undead again. I was on a real DayZ kick at the time, and I just love the locations in that sort of like rainy, bleak, like Slavic world that you're in, and you can get so immersed in it. And I was finding that even when I was like closing my eyes to go to sleep at night, I was thinking about various places in DayZ, and this was like no exception. There's loads of these sort of like hunting cabins, like log cabin type places that you can sort of set up camp and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that was instantly what I thought of, especially when I saw the pieces, because I'd seen Poet streaming her entry to this, and so I'd got a brief look at some of the pieces, and I was like, look, if there's logs and wooden bits, then we can do it, and we found a way.
Good. I'm just thinking, we didn't, during Undead's episode, he didn't actually plug his server, which is very bad of him. Terrible Undead.
Oh.
So maybe we should use this opportunity to give a little promo to
I'd be happy to. If you play DayZ and you want a low hostility environment to roleplay and cooperate, then go on Undead Clockwork's Outcasts. I've had the absolute time of my life on there in the past few months, so I really recommend it.
Yeah, and even if you don't play, it's a joy to watch both Undead and Poet stream on the server.
It is.
You don't actually stream DayZ, do you? Is that right?
No, I don't. I like to join in on Undead and Poet every now and then, but yeah,
well, I think it's good to just chill and play a game without having to worry about chat and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Very good. So, talk to me a little bit about your process. Like, how did you tackle this build?
To be honest, I'm not a particularly methodical person. I do kind of go just as it goes. I mean, I know I laid down a sort of basic shape at the start. I knew that I kind of liked this idea of this extension we're looking at right now with the sort of decking. But I don't know. I mean, I knew that I had to cover it in logs on the outside. That was about the only thing I knew would take a big logistical process. But honestly, basically everything else, I am kind of improvising it. Yeah, I am a bit. And we had quite a few sort of key decisions with that facade at the front above the front door, which chopped and changed throughout, and it's going to look even more different by the end because, as I say, I've never been too good at sort of visualizing. I can't see my end product before it's finished, so I really kind of have to do it this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think again with that front panel, the piece wouldn't sit properly, but in the end, you just made a feature out of is it either indented or bit that sticks out at the front? Yeah,
exactly. And I think I just covered it in like weeds or something. I just put a brush over everything. Which is a good fix-all on Planet Coaster, to be honest. Just cover it in natural scenery.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, foliage is a great filler, shall we say.
Godsend.
How was it working with the limited 100 pieces?
It was okay. It wasn't too bad, but I think perhaps I got a little lucky with the type of thing that I already wanted to build anyway. Because it's a sort of traditional building type. It's got all of the structural elements in there.
Yeah.
You know, I know that, for example, like Spagball obviously made what is essentially like a big time machine or something, right? And like props to him for that, because I know the front of that is a kind of wooden cabin, kind of like this, but then beyond that, I mean, I would have been struggling because flipping it. But some people see pieces in such interesting ways, because you see some people, and I think Spaggers did this as well, where they'll use like the ends of little pieces and stuff to make something else that was completely different, you know. And I mean, that huge props to that. I don't think I've done anything quite as creative as that. I think I've just tried to make the most out of.
I fall down with that aspect, and that with using pieces for not necessarily their intended purpose. I don't often see that. Oh yeah, the edge of that could be used for this. But
it's a really interesting way of playing the game. Yeah, I think you and me we tend to just say, is there something on Toolkit?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just very literal. I will use things for what they're used for, and if I can't do that, I'll go to TNTK. But, no, I think you did. Yeah, obviously, the build you chose, I discussed with Spag as well. Like it lended itself unintentionally well to this kind of log cabin / Western feel.
Sure.
Quite well. So yeah, I think you started on a good foot. So, and the time constraint, like how was it building this in an hour?
It is stressful. I know everyone says it's stressful, and it is. The thing is, I'd done a couple of 2-hour builds before, so this felt kind of small. And now, admittedly, in my 2-hour builds, I had to build a whole park, but I still kind of, I knew that feeling of sort of having to really think on your feet. You kind of got to build while thinking. You know, you have to like plan while you're actually doing it, rather than like you can never just stop and say, you know, you have to be doing something while you're doing it. But I was mostly okay, I think, up until the final sort of 5 minutes or 10 minutes when I realized, like, oh, I really wanted that feature of having a big radio tower. That was one of my original things. And I for some reason, left that ridiculously late. You can see I've already got about 11 minutes left, and I still haven't even started on it.
Yeah.
That was my big constraint. It turned out mostly okay.
Here we go.
Just starting on it now, yeah.
I was sat there thinking, is he going to do this? Like, it was extremely brave, but as everyone will see, you pull it off. And I think once you've got that like main feature of a build in your head, I think you want to execute it, and it certainly paid off for sure. Probably you may have already covered this, but what for you personally, what was the hardest part of this challenge?
It was honestly, I think. Maybe it was that sudden realization of, oh god, this is going to go way over 4,000 pieces. But after that, I think it was honestly this, because I hadn't really considered what scaffolding on radio towers actually looks like. I think because in other things I've built like this, I've just used those in-game scaffolding pieces. You know, they're just like big squares of structure. Whereas I did this with individual poles, and I had to drastically try to remember what they even look like,
and on different angles as well.
Yeah, exactly. And some bits of it do look really ropey. It's like the weakest part of the build, but I try not to think about it. I just try not to look at it.
No, I think it looks really good. So final question is, are you happy with the overall build?
You know, I actually am. I thought I'm really self-critical on a lot of things, but I actually didn't really get that feeling too much with this. I know now I could have done the radio tower better, and like, especially when I really look at it in detail. But if I look at the house, I sort of think, I'm actually, you know what, even if I had 2 hours, I wouldn't have even changed too much about that. I'm actually really quite happy with it. So yeah, I've got to say, I'm uncharacteristically happy with how it went. Yeah.
I said final question, but I lied. If you could go back, would you change? What would you change, or would you just add details? Or
not to harp on about it, moment. I'll do this again. This whole bit, all this scaffolding. I'm looking at. The more I'm looking at it now, I'm head in hands about it. I would have given myself 5 minutes to really sort it out, because I don't think it looks particularly realistic.
Yeah.
But as I say, yeah, the house, honestly, I think it's all right. So yeah.
Fine. So before we cut to your cinematics, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitch at Cockwaddle, and on Twitter at exactly the same, just Cockwaddle.
Wonderful. And do you have a streaming schedule?
I don't really, because my day job is a bit hit and miss, but I'm on most weekdays at either 1 p.m. or 8 p.m.
And people can, of course, join the Good Nice Discord.
Of course, yeah, we have a Discord server. You can find it again at my Twitch channel, but it's called the Good Nice server. The Good Nice is sort of our weird little brand name, I suppose. But yeah, I'd love to see you on there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for taking part, Cockwaddle.
Oh, thank you so much, Moon. It was an absolute blast. Thank you so much.